Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is JDavis. I'm the host of Radio Entrepreneurs, and we continue to stream stories of entrepreneurship and leadership in this economy. First-time guest for me, John Verri, founding member, Granite Communications. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Jeffrey.
Happy to be
part of the program.
So, Granite Communications, tell us about it.
So, Granite is a company that I helped start in the year 2002. We're based in Quincy, Massachusetts. We're approaching $2 billion in revenues. We have no debt. We have no outside shareholders. We're a business that has done exceedingly well, of course, over the last 20 plus years. I was fortunate to get involved at the very beginning.
Well, what's your background to build such a large agency? I mean, I in another life, I came out of the agency world. It's New York agencies, but what's your background?
So my background is I was involved in telecom since 1996. I helped, came on board to Network Plus back in 1996. That was also a Quincy-based organization. It was a company that went public, but got hurt when the debt markets turned upside down back in 2001. So unfortunately, I was part of that business that went bankrupt. The leader of Granite is a gentleman by the name of Rob Hale. He's a pretty prominent individual, philanthropist in the Boston area. So he called me and called another group of folks who were formerly with Network Plus and said, hey, look, I want to do this over again. I know I made some mistakes in the past, but we're going to do this the right way this time. And of course, we launched Granite in June of 2002. So my space is telecommunications ever since I was out of college. And why did we do what we did with Granite? We did it because we knew we could do it well. There were some things that were outside of our control in the public space, particularly with the public markets at the time. Unfortunately, telecom companies with debt were not looked at favorably in 2001, whereas in 2002, we had really no debt obligations at that time. We could control our own destiny. We started from scratch with our own capital, and we weren't dependent on anybody else. So that's how it all started, Jeffrey.
And just understand, who is traditionally your client and what are you exactly providing them?
So our client is a company that it spans all industries. It's, healthcare, financial services, government agencies, retail companies. We support largely multi-location, decentralized businesses that are looking to get centralization of their telecom requirements and support for the telecom requirements in one place, under one team, under one umbrella. And really, that's what we do well. But the kind of the litmus to Granite, which makes us different, is we buy almost $2 billion of commoditized telecom on the wholesale market. So we are the largest telecom wholesale provider that's also profitable in the United States, managed services provider.
So again, I don't want to look too stupid in front of you.
No worries.
I get the sense that you're buying time. I also get the sense that you're like an updated new generation sort of help desk on steroids.
Correct. That's a good way of saying it.
Good guess.
Outsourced IT technology manager for a decentralized business.
Right.
So we do everything, all types of technology services as it relates to telecommunications.
And data communication and data gathering and research analysis, which I assume is the back end benefit of what you're doing.
Correct. We go to a client and we tell them, if you could share with us your data, meaning the invoices you currently pay with your underlying carriers, we could provide a cost analysis, a free audit that won't cost anything more than just your time. You give us that information, we put it together.
I've shocked myself that I actually think I understand what you're talking about. But there was a commercial in the 1980s that AT&T did for telemarketing, and they actually used the company I worked with and the program we built back in. So I have a little front end experience and some other stuff too in that area. But what makes you so successful? And you have no debt. I understand that helps you to be successful relative to the competition.
Yeah. So what makes us successful relative to the competition? That's a very good question. Granite really is customer focused. I know everybody pays lip service to that. We really build processes around the client. The client tells us what they need, and we build processes around those clients. And for the most part, every client's got a different requirement. But when we go into a client, we are able to discover certain pain points that they have, and then we build a process around those particular pain points. That is ultimately what allows us to win certain deals that we wouldn't otherwise win. But what's the difference maker? The difference maker is we don't have term or volume type contracts with our clients. We go into a client, and what we do with them is how we behave, right? If we do well, they stay with us. If we don't do well, they leave us. So they know that our contract with them is on the customer's terms, not on Granite's terms. So we can earn our trust for a long period of time and a partnership rather than just being another vendor.
So I'm going to try to understand the organizational component here, because I know if this was 1980, you'd have some big, giant, massive bullpen where there were lots of people working. But I know in this economy, things have changed. I'm wondering how you physically deal with everybody, but then how do you manage everybody, which is the more important part? How do you manage people? Because I assume you're implementing a lot of new economy philosophies in that area too.
We are, but we're going back to the traditional way that we did it prior to 2020. So that's a good point. So leader leads from the front. You have to be in front of your staff. Our CEO, myself, and our team, we are generally in front of our team every single day. So, for example, at 8 o'clock in the morning is when we start. Every day we start, and we expect our team starts at that same time too as well. So, for example, you enter the Granite doorways, we expect you're going to be there at 8 o'clock every single day. So, what are we doing around work from home? We do have the ability to let folks work from home too as well, but we try to keep the team on premise at our offices as much as possible, because we know that that's where we shine the most. When we're together, we're working as a team, collaborative. And then, of course, we have folks that are on the road quite often meeting clients. But for the most part, we do have a hybrid environment where folks are able to work from home. We do want to foster the culture of letting folks be able to do what they have to do, of course, in their personal lives. But when work starts, we start early and we go hard all day. So
I would agree with that when it comes to your business. I used to tell my own employees earlier that the best time to talk is early, lunch, and after work, because that's when people can answer their phones and deal with things.
Of course. And a lot of times they may not want to take our call, but we spend a good deal of time in the sales world that we're in, prospecting, all hours of the day, every day.
My last question, AI.
Yep.
How are you using it in your business, or how are you going to be using it?
Oh, it's a great question. I call AIs a lot. There's a big movement, big push we have, obviously, in our space with AI. So we have programs around managed services. So as you know, with telecommunications, there's software and there's hardware. You've got equipment that needs to manage data services or voice services, and clients want to have the ability to have their services work, of course, all the time. But we provide a managed service component that allows the client to get what it really comes down to. It's kind of hard to explain because we're releasing this technology, of course, as we speak. but it will allow a client to, for example, reboot a modem automatically without having to have somebody do it. For example, if an internet line goes down in your house, you've got to plug or unplug it to get it to work again sometimes, right? So many times we're finding that we have to roll a technician to actually fix an internet line where it just requires a modem refresh. So we have technology that's going to allow us to turn that modem on and off whenever we have to without touching human hands. So
Great.
that's the AI technology, some of the AI technology that we're implementing in our solutions today that's going to make a big impact.
We've been speaking with John Verri from the very interesting and dynamic company, Granite Communications. John, we don't want to have you on just once. We would want to have you on again. But if someone's looking to understand more about the company, Granite Communications, how do they find you?
Of course, they could just, if you Google Granite Telecommunications, of course, they'll see our website. If they want to reach out to me, I'll give you my cell phone number, of course, 978-337-0263. Call me whenever you want.
Wow, that's unusual.
All hours of the days.
Usually we don't get people who give us their phone numbers unless they're over the age of 50. So,
yeah, I'm 50 and I have no issue with it. I did it before I was 50 and I'll do it after when I'm 60 if I have to.
That's great. I always give my phone out. It's my favorite way of being responsive. John, it's great meeting you. Very exciting to hear about the technology. I think you can tell. I find it very interesting, dynamic, and I do look forward to having you come back again.
Jeffrey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Great. And remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.